Hallo und herzlich willkommen, liebe Social Swap Community, heute am 15. Juni zu einem absoluten Sondercall hier auf Zoom, egal ob ihr das jetzt hier live schaut oder als Replay schaut. Ich glaube, das wird wirklich viele Aufrufe bekommen oder live auf YouTube im Stream schaut. Heute haben wir einen wirklich speziellen Gast bei uns. Freunde, ihr wisst, einer unserer größten Moves in der Geschichte von Social Swap steht gerade um die Ecke. Social Swap wird bald nicht mehr nur auf Tron verfügbar sein und ja, so quasi vom Tron profitieren, sondern Social Swap wird bald Multi-Chain gehen, auf eine weitere Blockchain. Und lange haben wir überlegt, welche Blockchain die richtige für unser Projekt ist. Ja, und nachdem wir ein paar Leute kennengelernt haben, die Technologie hinter dieser Blockchain hinterfragt haben, ja, und noch ein paar andere Gründe, die ihr jetzt hören werdet, ja, in Angriff genommen haben, wussten wir wollen nur auf diese Blockchain, ja, wir wollen mit dieser Blockchain arbeiten. Wir wollen ein Use Case von Core Decentralized Technologies werden, ja, und ihr wisst, wir sind mitten im Presale von diesem Token, wir sind mitten im Verkauf von Core-Token und auch schon über 400 Leute haben schon Core-Tokens gekauft und die Hälfte von den Tokens, die wir schon gekauft haben, sind schon verkauft. Aber trotzdem können viele Leute noch gar nicht glauben, was hier bald passieren wird und was wir hier alles vorhaben mit Core Decentralized Technologies. Und weil das alles so unglaublich ist und wirklich brutal ist, was hier ansteht, haben wir uns den CEO von dem Projekt hier heute zur Unterstützung für diesen Update-Call geholt. Ja. Und das ist niemand anderes als, wie gesagt, der CEO von Core selbst, Awkward Loopshire. Ich freue mich sehr, dass ich ihn euch jetzt gleich vorstellen kann. Von jetzt an wird das ganze Ding auf Englisch sein. Wir werden es aber natürlich auch auf Deutsch übersetzen für euch als Replay. Aber für diejenigen, die eben ja jetzt gleich schon man nennt den unter Freunden Oki, ja, die von Oki eben auch gleich hören werden. Ja, die werden jetzt, glaube ich, ins Staunen geraten. Also, liebe Social Swap Community, macht euch bereit für einen Banger. Das wird ein cooler Call. Dennis, bitte hilf mir, auf Englisch auch ein paar Fragen zu stellen. But first of all, Oki, I'm so happy you take the time. The Social Swap Community is on fire that we have the CEO of Core Decentralized Technologies today in our weekly update call. How are you, my friend?
Thank you very much. I'm doing very well.
Yes, all good. I can see you're in the office. You're still in the office, is that right?
Yes, sir.
That's nice. First of all, I just gave you a quick introduction and reminded the community of going multi-chain. It's a big step for our project, yeah, and we're very bullish for this as well. We're very happy we'll soon be able to utilize the core technology and yeah, be part of this amazing story. But Dennis, where to start? What is actually the first question we want to ask Oki? Because the community, let me frame it like this, Oki. The community, they want to believe what they hear. And for those who already got a little glimpse of what's about to happen, they're excited. But for some, it's still impossible to understand the entire thing and to fully believe what you guys created over the last years. So let me start with this, okay? Would you be as kind as to give us a quick introduction, first of all, of yourself, maybe real quick, what you did in the past and what you do now, what you've been working on for the last few days, and then maybe just start with the introduction because we got a lot to talk about.
Okay, no problem. So I was born in South Africa. I traveled all over the world since I was a little boy. I was in 13 different schools, lived in like 7 different countries with my father, traveling all over the world and exposing me to multiple different cultures and environments. Basically, my background is I was always into technology, self-taught programmer. And I actually studied graphic design and UI UX design. And my father and I built several projects together, one being a closed loop banking system in 2002 and 2003. We basically started building this platform, which was using GPRS networks and using POS devices before banks were using those, you know, the card readers and mag strip cards and things like this. And we basically used some form of tokenization and some form of like type of smart contract, which was actually calling information, stipulating on the small device if premium was paid or not. It was in the insurance industry. And basically we were rolling this out in rural areas to actually include excluded communities and to actually have an accountability system, which is then what led to us to the next part, which was where we were actually working in connectivity and also in video streaming. And basically what we did is we built a video capturing recording card, where you used to have these huge blade servers, but what we did is we made it much more compact. And then what we did is we were actually taking analog to digital, and then we also rolled out IP cameras to actually stream, wrote some software where it would only change the pixels that are moving, so it wouldn't have to have so much storage space and so much bandwidth that needed to be streamed. Then we actually installed that into South Africa. We worked in renewable energy, also in technology, where we did some negotiations and some consulting for renewable energy farms and things like this. And then when we basically moved to Slovakia, we started working on a project which was actually where everything started. It's actually the reason why everything started was the e-commerce platform Toktoki. And the reason why we started this was because we said, well, you should be able to buy multiple products from multiple merchants in multiple countries and multiple currencies with a single transaction. However, PayPal, Scroll, Authorize.net to check out banks and financial institutions were not very happy with that. So they didn't want to split the payment or anything. And then basically what we did is when we met Rastislav, he started introducing us into the blockchain technology, what we could do. Then he said, okay, well, we would need an exchange for this. So then we started off building the exchange. Then after the exchange, we realized, okay, we need a payment gateway. So we started building that. And then Michael, my father, as crazy as he is, sitting one day in his apartment, called us in and he said, listen, guys, we need to talk about something. Let's build a coin. Rastislav and myself said, do you have any idea what you are talking about and how much work it is and how long it will take? We estimated around about 6 years. Well, 9 years down the line, here we are. So, and that just sort of like rigmarolled everything from there, where we started saying, well, having the experience with rural communities and things, we say that connectivity is a human right. It should be just like water and air. You should be able to speak to your family for free. You should be able to speak to them at any given time, and it shouldn't actually cost you anything. And that's basically everything that we started was just, it just kept on adding on the services. And we actually built the network not for the coin, but we rather built the network for the network itself, because that immutable ledger and that amazing technology that we actually built with core blockchain, it actually allows for all the transacting and everything to actually take place. And this is what actually was the nice thing, is that this network allowed us to actually elaborate all these use cases and build all these use cases, because a network is worth actually nothing and a coin is worth nothing if it doesn't have use cases like yourself, SST, amazing use case, amazing platform. And I'm very, very happy to be here. So this is just my introduction and a little bit of my background.
So you're a real technology guy, man. Super interesting. But you're not basically building a new app or anything. Like it's a whole ecosystem, a whole new technology layer, right?
Yeah, it's basically like a whole new digital economy that we built. It's like the internet, basically. The internet, as we knew it back in the day, it was emails, and that was the only use case for internet. And then came the search engine, and everyone was like, well, what are you going to search? So they needed to get websites on there, and websites started coming on. And now today, internet is every single application. It is part of our daily lives, but it only became useful once there were use cases on it. And this is what actually created this whole digital economy and digital, the whole system itself, the ecosystem. It's basically defining, or it's redefining how finances and how data and how security and also how protection actually comes into play. Because right now, the biggest crisis that everyone has is who has my data? What are they doing with my data? And at the same time, is it secure? And that's exactly why we built it, because, you know, verpasse is actually one of the hearts of this business. It's actually the most important thing, because you need to identify an individual, an object, or a relationship. Because if you don't have those definitions, then you don't know what you're actually going to connect to, or who it is that's behind it, or what is the ownership itself. So this is like one of the important things of the ecosystem, is that particular identity, and that particular use case is to define who, what, when, where, and how is actually taking place. And of course, you can add a value to it.
So AK, for jumping in, I'm sure AK has already all the questions written down, but you just said like that communication basically is the right. Everybody should communicate for free. And I have a grandma, she lives in Sydney, and these days it's no problem. WhatsApp is, you can have a video phone call. But I remember when I was a little boy, calling Australia, it was so expensive just to get through to Australia. So you couldn't just speak on the phone every day, and other countries, it was super expensive. And your technology basically allows, as one part of the whole thing, to have like this connectivity to be able to talk to people without the internet. Is that right?
Yes, basically what we did is we built, you see, this is part of the blockchain, and this is about getting actually reach. Last mile reach is the most important thing. If you have a look at Elon Musk with Starlink, he's trying to create a mesh network in space. It's huge expense, but of course, okay, yes, it does work, and the internet can be streamed, and he has to connect the whole globe actually around, and then, you know, you have to have receivers that receive this. But basically what we've done is we've built basically the same, but on the ground, a satellite network basically, but it's basically the small little device. Here actually is the Orb i2. This is the device. This is how big it is. And basically this is your connectivity, your decentralized storage, your miner, and a node. And basically it can stream the blockchain. This device, actually, you guys know already, earns an income, and it does something like, I would say something like $12, maybe a little bit less a day is what it earns. Could be like $10, maybe $9, depending on the difficulty rate now. But basically what happens is if an individual in a rural community has this device, they would be able to earn an income, to stream connectivity, and be able to actually connect their community, because it works like a cluster. And the more people that join, the faster the network actually becomes, because it's a mesh network. It works like the torrents network, basically. The more people seed the files, the faster the download actually becomes. So it's exactly the same. You have a bandwidth which you're using, and basically you're streaming that. And the more people that are streaming and participating and actually sharing the packets, the devices that you have actually start leapfrogging that connectivity to actually extend the network. But of course, there are certain times, long distances, if you travel to the US, or if you're in Africa, or if you're in Asia, or even, you know, wherever you are in the world, there are areas which doesn't have connectivity or doesn't have communities living. So what we basically did is we did two solutions for that. One is we open up the ports, because our protocol is basically written. We have a proprietary protocol for the Luna Mesh, which utilizes multiple frequencies, free frequencies. And then what we do is we partner with, for example, ISPs and things like this, and we can actually stream the connectivity through our devices. So we become last mile reach for them also. But what we do is we then utilize that port so that you can connect two communities with each other by leapfrogging it over the pond or something like this through the internet itself until everything's reached. The next thing that we've done is we implemented what is called epidemic routing. Epidemic routing means if you have a town here and you have a town here and you have a highway, if there's no connectivity or no signal, basically what happens is it's the same with the blockchain. You can actually send a transaction offline, and that transaction can be carried through vehicles to the next part where it actually has the connectivity and sync it. And these packets can actually also be delivered like this. We have right now a use case which we're testing about 100 kilometers from point to point to connect it, to stream it straight 100 kilometers. We already have the use case here in Slovakia where Bratislava is actually fully under our connectivity. We haven't opened it up yet, but we're testing the network here ourselves. And it's actually, it's amazing. It took very little devices to actually get the entire Bratislava connected. And basically,
someone is asking in chat right now, how can that work in flight mode?
So I can show you how it can work in flight.
I mean, we saw it at the offices, but the community did not see anything yet. You know what I mean?
You will see my phone is in flight mode. My SIM card is removed from the telephone. I don't know if you can see it there. So the SIM card is removed. And I have the Heyo application. And I'm going to phone Rastislav right now. So I'm connecting to Rastislav. So it's connecting. See, it's checking the peers. It's connecting.
And the more peers there are, the faster the connection gets, right?
Yes, the faster the connection gets.
Incredible.
Let me just make sure that he's answering his phone.
He's in the programming tunnel.
Yes.
It is a working tunnel. But we already saw it. So to the entire community, we have visited you quite some time ago. I think about 1.5 or 2 months ago at your offices. We already saw the living proof. So once we saw that, we knew we wanted to work with you guys.
Hold on, there we go. And I'm phoning Rastislav right now. So here you can actually see. Hello, Rastislav.
Hello, Rasti.
I'm good. How are you? Can you do me a favor? Can you get up from your desk and can you walk a little bit in the office so that people can actually see, you know, you walking away and doing things? Your phone is in flight mode, correct?
Yeah, it's all right. Now I'm just walking out in the office. It's our kitchen.
And I'll show you, it's still in flight mode. If you don't believe me, it's still in flight mode.
This is incredible.
Yeah,
It's incredible.
I can also walk to you and you can see that I will be nearby, but I just put my volume down.
A super smooth connection.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
And this works for 100 kilometers without any devices, without internet, like.
Yeah, it can work. It can work for more than 100 kilometers, depending on how many.
Oh, he's here.
Yeah.
Nice.
So this is basically like, this is a serverless, borderless, peer-to-peer, end-to-end, uninterceptable video calling platform.
So it's fully encrypted.
Fully encrypted. No one can intercept it. No one can listen in. No one can hack that call. No one can track and trace what you're writing. It's got decentralized storage. So basically what happens is your messages are stored on your device. We have a cloud solution where you can actually back up the device on the cloud itself. But what you can do is not only connect or store it in the cloud, you can also do a cold storage where you can store it, then all the messages that you wrote, you can actually store on a device. But no one else has these messages. No one has access. We as a company have no access there whatsoever. We don't want to know what you're writing. We don't want to know your mom's famous recipe of chocolate cake, even though I do like chocolate cake. But, but basically, this is what it's all about, is that your data is protected, your data is secured, and you have control. The only person that has access to the messages is the individual that you've connected to. In this application, it's not the prettiest one. We're actually working on the new design. But here I can show you. I just filled in these details, but actually you can see up here at the top is actually my core ID. It's actually my core ID that is linked to this, where it's proven that I am me. So no one can robocalls you anymore. No one can falsify who they are. It is legitimate. You know who you're talking to, and you know that individual is really that individual.
And will you also be able to like send coins, like
yes,
this works with everything. So
yes,
you can transact on the blockchain offline. You can live talk. I mean, when I first heard it, it was like science fiction, and when I see this now, just thinking about this, how this it can really revolutionize the whole communications industry, the blockchain industry as well, because I mean, who's got this technology?
The blockchain is streaming right here. It's running on here. It's integrated. So basically what happens is every single application that we build on the telephone, the websites that we build, everything has actually got inside. It's actually got everything built in, that you become a node, you become part of the streaming of the connectivity. We're now actually building in also a basically the same as like the bounty for the core pass that we have, that you actually earn money whilst just having the application. So basically what we do is if you participate, you're actually helping us to grow the network, which means you earn an additional income. So we're busy building that into the applications also. That will naturally create even more demand on Core Token, because your rewards are paid out in Core Token.
One question I've seen in chat that someone is saying that there might be a few people who might not be so excited about this technology. But the biggest thing is, once it's rolled out, it's a decentralized, unstoppable network. Nobody can censor, nobody can shut it off, right?
No, they can't. They cannot stop it. I mean, you literally have to shut off all governments, all banks, all military. You have to switch off the sun, basically, because this also works with a solar panel. You saw me walking down New York. So someone actually wrote on my Twitter when I posted this video, and they said, what is the point of you just showing you walking down the street with an Orb i2? So let me explain to you what the point is. Try and do that with an Ethereum miner or with a Bitcoin miner. Yes. Firstly. Secondly, I had connectivity. So, and the third part was, I was actually mining whilst I was walking, and I was doing it from a battery pack. Now, the interesting part is I was using an Anchor battery pack, standard one charge of a normal laptop. It lasted 3 days. That I didn't charge it for 3 days. I was running it with the Orb. It's using like a cost of a transaction, like on the entire network, is 9.5 watts out of a electrical perspective. Bitcoin, 7 billion. Ethereum, 777 million. Solana, centralized network, which is staking. Basically, they use, I think it's 2,700 watts for a transaction, the cost of a transaction. So in our case, you're using 8 watts, 9 watts, and that's it. That's like your light bulb. You can put 6 of these devices and you'll use less electricity than what your light bulb is using.
So it's
okay, we got such a funny comment. I have to read it to you. It's in German, the comment, so I'll translate it. But it basically says, I don't understand everything in English, but what I just saw is revolutionary.
Well, yeah, it's been an amazing road. I can tell you guys, like, the interesting thing is that very few people really understand how hard it is to develop such a dApp.
Including me. I'm honest.
Yeah, but it is. You see, if you're connecting to a server, yes, it's easy to build something where you have a singular connection. If you don't have a server involved and you find a bug, do you know how hard it is to decipher that? Because we don't have tracking in the application. So we have like minimal tracking, which is maybe if you want to send a geolocation or something, then you just have to switch it on so that you can actually send that location of where you are. But it doesn't mean that we have that access, because that's a message that you're sending on a peer-to-peer basis without a server. So it's using your local phone's tracking to actually do that for you in the application. But we as a company don't have access to it. And to debug such little things, like if you find a little fault, or to write it, like how to start it and how to build the architecture, it's a huge planning, which is very few people actually understand, like how much we sit and debug and check certain things. And yes, sometimes it works fantastic, and then the next moment we make like one little update and it breaks something else, and then you got to go and debug that. And this is why it's taken so long, because when we want to deliver a product, we want to deliver the best to our possibilities. And that's the same.
If you have this thing launched, basically it's new technology layer. Do you connect to the regular internet? Do you build your own internet? How does that work?
Basically, it's basically Internet 2.0. But what it is like you guys are multi-chain, it's multi-net. And basically, that's why we wrote the protocol, that it uses multiple free frequencies. So you have different kinds of frequencies. You have 5G, 4G, 3G, 2G, LTE. You have mesh networks. You have radio frequencies. You have all kinds of things. So basically, what happens is in every country there are free frequencies that can be used. And there's also, like, for example, let's take a garage remote. They're running on 400 megahertz to anything between 300 to 400 megahertz. It's a very condensed, network that's actually taking place. What we've done is with the geolocation that we actually do, we basically, it defines in the orb, and it says, okay, this is the geolocation. Here are the free frequencies, and it will start streaming in those free frequencies. So it defines that. And basically what happens is that's why I said that's the unique thing that we did is we wrote that protocol. And then what we've done is you can then build applications that you can stream. We stream the blockchain on this. We stream a lot of our connectivity and everything like that. We stream through the mesh protocols. It's built into the application. This was running, this is Luna Mesh right here. This
basically in the future, when the captain of a plane says, please switch off your phones, you switch off your phone, you can still surf the net.
Yes,
right?
yes, you can. Actually, I will tell you, we were in a plane and we actually made a phone call and we actually did it. And it was seamless, just like you saw now, in a plane, in flight mode, no connectivity, nothing. We weren't using the internet from the plane, or because there was no connectivity in any case. Sure. it was broken.
It is crazy. And I have one comment, Michael, who says, it sounds revolutionary, but 100 kilometers is just 100 kilometers.
Yes, 100 kilometers is just 100 kilometers. But now let's say
it can get
here's
bigger.
100 kilometers. And then here's one person right here. And then there's another person. And there's another person, and there's another person. And if you can talk for free in a secured environment, it doesn't cost you 1 cent. You don't need to pay for internet because Luna Mesh is for free. We don't want money from it. We believe that it is a human right. It should be for free. This connectivity has to be for free. And that's why this application is for free. You can make phone calls without having to pay an ISP. What more reason do you need? And then on top of that, you'll earn an income. So what more reason do you need to actually participate in the network? Because if you're participating, yes, you have 100 kilometers, but everyone that starts using it around is going to start leapfrogging it, and you're actually going to start spreading it even more. You have to start somewhere. It's how the internet started. It's how every application, WhatsApp started like that. Facebook started like that. Social Swap started like that. You started with one person. That person told another person started believing in it, said, okay, right, I'll utilize it. And that's how you start growing these communities. That's why we said we're going to build communities. That's why we're actually building these orbs so that we can actually deploy them in the areas and already get the connectivity out from day one.
And very soon we're going to use the core technology, and we're going to not use Zoom anymore. We're going to use the technology you guys provide. It's like it's like we are entering a new era now.
Yes, yes, and basically, it is true that you don't need an Orbi-2, but you need one device that can actually start it. So that's why we develop these little clusters, and we put in the devices. The nice part is we can leave like 4 devices there and take 50 to another place and go and deploy it over there and start that network. And then when there's enough participants, take some of those devices, move it to another place and start deploying it there, because you can use a solar panel for it. You can literally do guerrilla networking with it.
So it's like the helium minus similar.
Yeah, it's something like the helium, but the only difference is we have 600 megabits per second. we don't have 256 kilobits.
That's right.
Okay, I have a very interesting question for you. You are working as core on so many different use cases in order to make this the massive success we all expect it to be. In 1 year from now, or in a few years from now, take a wild guess, which of the many use cases you're working on, and we don't have enough time to discuss every use case, which one do you think is going to be the one you will be most famous for in the future?
I would say it's either going to be verpasse,
okay,
or it's going to be Ting and Meeting, or it's going to be Heyo.
Okay.
that I think is going
Let's
to
talk about corpus, because we have already 400 buyers. I think after this call, we're going to have more buyers of core tokens. They all going to need a corpus for 15 euros-ish, something like this. What is corpus, my friend?
Okay, corpus is actually a very interesting application. It can be seen as a digital identity, but let's define a digital identity. A digital identity is just an ID, which is how you can identify. However, what corpus actually is a digitization platform, and it's proving that our smart contracts can be adaptable. Now, to explain to you what that means, you are given a government document. That document, we can't give you a new government document unless the government says, okay, right, we will give a digital information, and if they accept corpus as being the new form of identification, then it can become a real digital identity. However, what we do is we actually give you the service that we provide is basically where you digitize your government issued document and you prove that you are you. This digitization does a full KYC, AMLP, PCFT, everything. Every single person can have a corpus, every single person. And I will also say undocumented, because I will come to that in a little while. But basically what happens is you can have more than one document. You can have your driver's license, you can have your ID, you can have your residency permit, you can have your passport. And then what you can do is when you've got all these digital attributes actually in your corpus, which is stored on your telephone, we don't have access to it. We don't want access to it. The use cases that you have with this application is not just to have a digital identity. We've written a new form of login and two-factor authentication. Actually, according to us, two-factor authentication is a joke. And I will explain to you. We have multiple tier access control for you to actually be able to log in. And what it does is it just generates a QR code. This QR code basically allows you to either fill in a form automatically where you don't have to sit down and type or do anything, or you can just log into your platform. If you change your data on your device, it's going to ask you to update the data to the platform that you're logging into. This is to comply with all regulation. Now, the beautiful part is that it's in a vault and it's got a permission level. It's a write-only vault. It's not you can view the data, but you cannot extract that data. And the beautiful part about this is that it becomes secure and no one can share your data on to any other platform unless they have your permission. And that company that's requesting that data defines who they are and what data they want. And they can even define what purpose they want to use that data for. The other thing is that you can do a peer-to-peer verification. It also has the secure wallet in it, and it has the bounty program. But what we also have inside there is we actually have a desktop solution which uses biometrics. And we have two use cases in the rural area that we're working with two governments. Unfortunately, I cannot disclose all that information just yet, but we are actually now putting it together where we're doing DNA swabbing, we're doing facial recognition, we're doing retina scan and fingerprints, and then we're issuing, with that data, we are issuing actually a digital identity for the individuals who are undocumented. This allows them to at least track and trace these types of people and to have them accountable for, so that they know where the individuals are and if they're okay and these types of things. So that this also prevents human trafficking. This prevents child abduction, because what you can do is now you can actually put a relationship. So I can define a relationship with a company, with an individual. I can define ownership. I can define even with my dog. If I say that's my dog, I own my dog, and I can even put him in the corpus because I can give him a digital identity if I want to. And basically what can happen is you can then actually, with permission levels, you can actually define, okay, this individual is my father, for example, and I'm related to him. And if we travel, they can actually stipulate that. So if they want to make sure that I have the permission also to travel with, let's say, for example, another individual, you can grant permission through verpasse. Now, imagine what that does for businesses when it comes to notarized, or sometimes you need to give rights to someone to sign a particular document or do a particular thing for your wife, for example, if she needs to go to the bank and do something for you when you're traveling or something like that. Basically, you can give a 1 hour, 30 minutes, a 1 day, a 1 month, or you can give a permanent permission and right to someone to be able to do or execute a particular task. So this redefines on how we need to actually give permission. And this is a proven, tracked, traced, immutable ledger insert. The data is fully GDPR compliant, which, because it's not actually stored in the blockchain. It's stored in your local device, but what happens is it's fingerprinted into the blockchain. So it has a timestamp, it has a certain amount of characters, it defines whether the data is still there, it defines whether the data has been changed or not. So every single time that you log in, it's actually doing that check to make sure that your identity is still secure.
So when you lose your device, you just get a new device, you log in with the verpasse again, and it downloads encrypted data back to your device? Then?
Yes, you can have clouds. As I said, it's the same with the Heyo application. We have a cloud storage solution where you can actually back it up. I really
decentralized, right?
Yeah. I really recommend to everyone to make sure that when you do this verpasse, make sure you save your private key, make sure you get your seed, because we have a 24-word, 6-character per word seed phrase. It's huge. It's specifically because of the Edwards curve ED448, and it is the most secure blockchain out there. So this, make sure you store it on a safe place. Please take care of that. We cannot give you a new seed phrase or anything. You'll have to create a whole new account if you lose that. That is your control. That is your responsibility. We cannot take responsibility for that, because otherwise we will be a centralized entity. And if we have access to your private keys, I'm sure you don't want us to have that, because
this is a big topic in crypto in general, not your keys, not your coins. And once you lose the keys, I mean, your coins are lost. And
yes,
there's still a huge gap when it comes to like a generational gap. For younger people, it's quite normal. I mean, they're used to crypto, they're used to having a private key and do all that stuff. But people who don't know this, I mean, I imagine it's going to be hard for some people to get used to this, just to be able to not rely on calling a bank. Oh, sorry, I forgot my password or something like that.
Yes. They don't need to phone the bank anymore. They can just say, oh, can you use my verpasse? Here we go. Just, it's on my telephone. It's with me always. And I don't need to carry a passport with me. Imagine what it will do for when you travel, when you have to go to an airport and you have to check in. Instead of showing your document, it's just one scan with a QR code, and voila. And actually, the beautiful part is when you register on a platform, you actually get paid. So you get paid for your data in core tokens, and it gets verified by a third party. Basically, what happens is with the verpasse, we are actually or hashing the transaction into the blockchain for each other. We don't know who it is that's actually hashing that in, but that individual, it's like a new type of mining, if you can explain it in this way. It's basically your application is going to do a race to try and see who can verify a transaction first. You have to have core coin and you have to have core token. Now, core coin is basically used to pay for the fees into the blockchain. This is minimal. This is really, really like cents or even fractions of cents. But basically what happens is you earn more in core token for the transaction that you've actually processed. So you actually earn money on the platform on core token. And that actually helps define the demand, the natural demand of core token, because it's a utility token, which is used for a means of payment, for a service. So it's basically defining the service that you've delivered, because you actually become a service provider in verpasse yourself. And that's where you earn these types of rewards and these types of things.
Crazy.
Okay, we have to keep it real. We could talk hours and hours about this, and we also have to give a shout out to Alex, who does on a weekly basis a core introduction call in German, and I highly recommend it to everybody in the community, but I will go on in my slides very soon. Okay, if you have a few more minutes for a last statement from your side as a CEO to the use case of SST and Social Swap. I mean, it took us over 1.5 months to negotiate this thing through, but we did it last week, Tuesday. And ever since, we started selling some tokens, and almost, let's say, about half the tokens are sold. And a lot of people already bought tokens, but we want them, first of all, to buy more tokens, to be honest, because we really think we're very bullish on core tokens. And it's also the truth that nobody else is selling tokens, basically. Which is also, you want to say something? I don't want to interrupt you, please.
No. I just wanted to say, yeah, you are 100% correct that no one else is actually selling core tokens. You guys are a use case utilizing our technology. You guys bought as a use case the tokens, which we stipulated from day one. What you're doing, I think, is great. Your staking platform and your platform that you have, I think, is really, really great. I think it is a fantastic use case for the core blockchain itself, as well as for core token. And I would really advise, look, yes, I do think, in every single market, there is always, when a token goes live or a coin goes live, certain people cash out. But what I can say is, with the natural demand and with the use cases, a use case like SST, we have also, amazing other use cases like Corpus, Ping Exchange, Ting and Meeting. We have a full payroll system, which we've implemented, that uses actually the ICANN addresses, which is like IBAN standards, but it uses ICANN addresses. It's built on the ISO 20022. It's actually called the Pain Protocol. It is a bloody pain. But which is basically, it's like a messaging network, like the Swift messaging network, and it allows banks and financial institutions to actually integrate directly with the blockchain itself. So they don't even need to rewrite their software. They can just connect to the network itself. We have batch payments in there. We have token batch payments. We have processing and importing bulk payments in any currency or digital asset. If you want to have a look at some other use cases, you can also go to our codetech.cc website. We also have a Totems fuel suppliers platform. This is now the first time that I'm actually announcing these things. So it's actually on your platform that I'm announcing use cases. We have a fuel suppliers platform with entire stock management and accounting platform. Totems is an amazing piece of software. It's basically like SAP on steroids, and they've implemented everything into the blockchain. It's phenomenal. We've been working actually for a very long time with them to actually do this. We have a voting statistics specifically to include rural communities and municipalities. We have education compliance platform with asset management, budgeting, accountability, including handbook management platform. We're currently in progress with an agricultural project. As you know, my father's farm. And then we've also got some other platforms where we're actually doing things for genetics and for animal management. And basically, we're also tracking basically the entire, what they've eaten, who supplied the food, when were they shaven, how much water did they drink, how far did they walk. It redefines actually what you can know about what you eat. And then, all being deployed in the core blockchain. And this will actually all create natural demands. We have several other use cases. Unfortunately, I cannot mention those, but those are biggies.
We're happy with those use cases you just tried to explain already. We're pretty bullish on them. Okay, it was a pleasure to have you on the call. I know your time is very valuable, so we don't want to take any further time from you. We're now going to continue the call in German because we have prepared some more few slides. Once again, I want to also publicly invite you to our 2 next upcoming events. First of all, Electric Love Festival. We have an incentive going on. When people sell enough of your tokens or buy enough of your tokens, they're more than invited. If you want to come, feel free. I'll chat to you about this later. And November in Dubai, I'll bet the community will be excited to see some of the core leaders there as well. But
yeah, I mean, Dubai would be great because when we have the convention, we have several speakers, and you could present more details about a few use cases which have been running since then, So it might be a great opportunity as well.
And by
Okay.
Dubai, we should be live already and already have the pairing and everything.
that
As
that
your
will
sign
already be
says,
live. Yeah.
soon. Your sign says soon, so it's probably going to launch soon, right?
yeah, everything's always soon. You see, right over there. But yeah, then thank you very much for the time. Thank you very much for
your
inviting me. I will try and participate in some of the events. I just need to see how my traveling goes, and if use cases need me, unfortunately, then I won't be able to come. But it's actually for the community, the things I do for the people.
Okay, it was a pleasure. Thank you so much. An alle Liebe an die ganze Social Swap Community. Das war das CEO von Core Decentralized Technologies. Thank you once again. Okay, it was a pleasure.
Vielen Dank.
Just
Auf Wiedersehen.
One thing before you go. Since you came on, prices are going up in crypto, so it's a very good sign.
We do this on a daily basis now. Okay.
Well, I don't think it's because of me.
Of course. All right, thank you so much.
Vielen Dank, schönen Abend und alles Glück für dich.
Oh, not bad.
Danke.
Auf Wiedersehen. Tschüss.
So, liebe Freunde, eines der wenigen Interviews mit dem Core-CEO, also dementsprechend, das war schon ein absolutes Highlight. Nochmal kurz zur Erinnerung, der Core SST Use Case ist seit Dienstag letzte Woche, also wenn ihr das hier live seht, seit 8 Tagen ausverhandelt. Seither sind wir auch im Token Sale. Wir verkaufen Tokens für 15 US-Dollar-Cent. Ja, wer das kaufen möchte, let's go. Es gibt auch eine Tippgeber-Provision aktuell. Alles auf Papierverträge. In wenigen Wochen verkaufen wir dann auch auf der Webseite. Mining-Geräte wurden angesprochen. Wir haben auch einen separaten Kaufvertrag. Ich weiß gar nicht genau. Ich denke, für 400 Mining-Geräte abgeschlossen. Jeder, der über unsere Core-Tokens kauft, hat eben einen Anspruch ab 1.000 Euro auf ein Mining-Gerät. Ja, und ihr seht hier auch, wenn ihr mehr Mining-Geräte, mehr Core-Tokens kauft für größeres Geld, bekommt ihr auch Mining-Geräte kostenlos, solange der Vorrat reicht. Also seid ihr auch schnell. Das ist auch ein Vorteil, wenn ihr das schneller abschließt. Dann ein Shoutout an Alex Heik, ein absoluter genialer Call, wurde letzte Woche Donnerstag abgehalten. Ja, das ist ein Meisterwerk gewesen, wirklich. Er hat stundenlang recherchiert für dieses Ding und stundenlang die Folien erstellt, und es war wirklich einer der besten Calls, die ich jemals in der Geschichte gesehen habe. Er macht das morgen wieder um 19:30 Uhr zum zweiten Mal, ich glaube auch am Donnerstag danach. Also wenn ihr Interessenten dazu einladen wollt, welche den Core SST Use Case vorstellen und auch was es generell alles Positives bei uns bei SST auswirken will, wisst ihr Bescheid.
Also für morgen Leute einladen, wenn ihr mit jemandem sprecht zum Thema Core, ja, und der einfach mal einen besseren Einblick haben will. Alex macht da wirklich einen mega Job. Ruft ihn an, ladet ihn ein für morgen, um einfach ein bisschen mal ein paar weitere Infos zu holen, weil er geht auch auf die verschiedenen Use Cases von Core ein bisschen im Detail ein. Wir hätten heute mit Oki wahrscheinlich noch 3, 4, 5 Stunden reden können. Es passiert so viel. Ihr seht ja, was da alles gemacht wird. Also es ist unglaublich, was mit Core alles an den Start geht.
Ihr könnt aber auch gerne warten, bis unser Webseiten-Presale live ist, ungefähr in 3 Wochen von jetzt, so Pi mal Daumen, kurz nach dem Electric Love Festival. Nur kann ich es dann sagen, wird es dann schon teurer sein. Ja, der Presale auf der Webseite wird mit 17 Cent starten, 18 Cent und 19 Cent weitergeführt in 3 Phasen. Wer bei SST früh dabei war, weiß, am Anfang gab es auch Presale auf Papierverträgen und dann eben auf der Website, und es wurde immer teurer. Wenn hier Gewinne gemacht werden, wird SSD zurückgekauft, also alle Gewinne fließen hier zurück in die Community, weil der Core-Token wird dann eben auf der Ping Exchange für 20 Euro-Cent, was mittlerweile schon mehr als wie 21 $Cent sind, fast 22 $Cent sind, gelistet. Also ziemlich spannendes Thema. Auf der Webseite kann man dann eben auch Provisionen verdienen, 3% Affiliate-Provision wird es geben, direkt auf die Einzahlung in Bitcoin, Ethereum, Tether, USDT, Tron und so weiter und so fort. Wer das Presale von SSD noch kennt, so läuft das genau gleich ab. Wie gesagt, alle Gewinne, die da entstehen, ja, werden eben für Buybacks verwendet. So, das Ganze zählt auch für Electric Love. Man kann entweder Electric Love kaufen und einfach dabei sein, kostet 1.267 Euro, wenn ihr mit Hotel dabei sein wollt. Oder ihr macht über den Inner Circle für Core Werbung und nehmt teil am Core Presale. Dann kann das Ganze eben gegengerechnet werden und ihr seid beim nächsten Event kostenlos dabei. Freunde, ich glaube, das ist wirklich ein ganz besonderer Tag heute gewesen, weil der Tag ist ein bisschen heftig gestartet, ja, aber jetzt, glaube ich, ganz stark geendet. Freunde, wir sind, ihr wisst es alle, auch wenn es sich gerade ein bisschen kompliziert anfühlt, auf dem völlig richtigen Weg. Alleine, dass Oki hier in diesen Call reinkommt, dann am Mittwochabend, das zeigt schon eben, dass wir wirklich auf dem völlig richtigen Weg sind. Auch Core wird das SST-Projekt stark unterstützen, stark unter die Arme greifen, ja, und nach oben bringen. Und dementsprechend, liebe Freunde, ja, tut, was ihr tun müsst, holt euch alle Informationen, fragt nach dem Replay von Alex, seinem Webinar, beziehungsweise morgen live mit dabei, mit Interessenten. Ich kann es wirklich jedem nur extrem empfehlen. Kauft euch Core-Tokens. Ja, ich kann es auch nur empfehlen, weil ich bin wirklich der Überzeugung, dass das, was die Jungs hier machen, wenn nur 1% umgesetzt wird von dem, was die vorhaben, wird das ein unglaubliches Projekt. Aber die Jungs sind on fire, sie wissen, was sie tun. Ihr habt jetzt auch nochmal persönlich Einblicke von dem CEO selbst bekommen und dementsprechend.
Also ich freue mich drauf, wenn wir dann im November nach Dubai fliegen, im Flugmodus einfach zu telefonieren, ja.
Ich auch, ja. Ich lese ja hier auch Feedback dazu. Okay, ist auch sehr positiv, ist ein cooler Typ. Ja, ganz cool. Gut, dementsprechend, liebe Community, vielen Dank für eure Aufmerksamkeit. Macht es gut. Wir hören uns alle spätestens morgen 19:30 Uhr wieder im Core SST Webinar. Social Swap to the Moon.